Before we dive into today's story, if this is your first time watching one of our videos, we'd love for you to hit that subscribe button. Your support means the world to us and helps us bring you even more powerful stories. Stick with us till the very end. And if this story moves you, share your thoughts in the comments and send it to a friend who needs to hear it. Now, let's begin. Aria Bennett stood in the narrow hallway of her parents' home, staring at herself in the mirror that had reflected every awkward family dinner for the past decade. She smoothed the lapel of her budget-friendly blazer and ignored the way her mother's disapproving eyes flicked over her outfit like it was an unfortunate stain. "At least make an effort, Aria," her mother said, arms crossed as though this Sunday dinner were a board meeting she had to pass. "Your sister Ava is bringing her new fiancé. He's the VP of strategy at Laureate Tech. Big deal for the family." Aria swallowed a laugh. Ava collected high-ranking boyfriends the way other people collected rare wines, each one carefully chosen to pair with her ambition. Meanwhile, Aria was the family's cautionary tale, the one they spoke about in soft, pitying voices. "Still working at that little shop, aren't you?" her father would ask every week, as if managing the flagship boutique of Aurora Luxe was a temporary stage before she did something real with her life. But tonight, Aria had a secret that would flip the entire script upside down. In exactly 3 minutes, the business world would break the news that Aurora Luxe, the luxury brand her parents revered like a religion, had a new majority owner, an owner who had been quietly acquiring shares while smiling politely at family dinners. "Aria, you're late," Ava's voice rang from the dining room. "Come meet Liam. He just closed a $30 million expansion deal." The television in the living room blared, its tone suddenly serious. "Breaking news! Aurora Luxe reveals new CEO and majority shareholder after a 2-year stealth acquisition." "Turn that up," her father barked, already leaning forward. "Aurora is the crown jewel of luxury retail. Whoever bought it better not be some tech kid looking to turn it into an app." Aria glanced at her watch and smiled faintly. She knew what was coming. The anchor's voice carried across the room, sharp as a gavel. "In a surprise move that has stunned the market, Aurora Luxe announced that its new majority shareholder and incoming CEO is..." The screen flashed a photo. Aria Bennett, formerly the manager of Aurora's flagship boutique. The room went silent. Her father's fork clattered against his plate. Her mother froze with a wineglass midair. Ava's fiancé choked on his appetizer. "No, this is a mistake," her father said, turning toward the TV as if the force of his stare could undo the announcement. "Aria isn't. She can't." "Can't what?" Aria said, stepping fully into the dining room, calm now. She pulled out her phone and placed it on the table, the glowing screen displaying the legal stock transfer confirmation. "Can't understand business? Can't run a company? Can't turn 2 years of quiet planning into control of a billion-dollar empire?" Her mother's mouth opened and closed like she was trying to catch her breath. "But you're just a store manager." "I was," Aria corrected gently, pulling out a chair and sitting down. "One who spent 2 years studying every detail of Aurora's operations while quietly buying shares through a holding company. Turns out people tell you all sorts of things when they think you're just folding sweaters." Her father's expression shifted from shock to calculation as the truth sank in. "The market dipped last year," he muttered. "When Aurora's shares nosedived after that fake earnings leak was orchestrated by my team," Aria said, folding her hands neatly. "We needed the price low enough to gain controlling interest without raising suspicion." She reached for a glass of water, taking a slow sip while Ava's fiancé stared at her like she'd just confessed to grand larceny. "Basic strategy, Dad. Just like you taught Ava." "This is insane," Liam stammered, already fumbling with his phone. "You'd need market expertise, insider timing, serious capital, all of which I had," Aria interrupted. "Remember that silly little blog I started about luxury retail trends? It has 3 million subscribers now. Add in the market research I gathered from actual customers, An inheritance Grandma left me that everyone said I'd waste? That became seed money. But you never went to business school. Ava hissed, her face red with disbelief. No, Arya said simply. I went to work, learned the business from the ground up while you all chased degrees and titles. She stood, brushing an invisible crease from her blazer. And by the way, Liam, that massive marketing campaign you just closed? It's canceled tomorrow. Aurora doesn't need influence or fluff. We need authenticity and connection. Her father was still staring at the television, where analysts now appeared on screen, praising the brilliance of the stealth acquisition. All those Sunday dinners, he said slowly. All that advice. We thought we were helping you. Arya's mouth curved into a small smile. You were. Every single lecture just reminded me how useful it is to be underestimated. Her phone buzzed with a notification. The Aurora board was calling an emergency meeting. Perfect. She grabbed her bag, slinging it over her shoulder. I have to go. Some of us actually run our companies, not just talk about them. She paused at the door and turned back. Oh, Mom, this blazer you hate? It's part of Aurora's new diffusion line launching next quarter. Because luxury isn't about the price tag. It's about understanding value. The last thing she heard before the door clicked shut was Ava's whisper, shocked and a little scared. Did my little sister just become our boss? The Aurora boardroom was silent when Arya walked in 20 minutes later, still wearing the same unworthy blazer. 12 men in bespoke suits stared at her as though she had wandered into the wrong room. Gentlemen, Arya said, sliding into the chair at the head of the table. I believe you've all met me before, though last time I was probably serving you espresso during your quarterly store visits. Charles Langford, the longest-serving member of the board, cleared his throat. Ms. Bennet, surely there's been a misunderstanding. The only misunderstanding, Arya said, flipping open her laptop, is your belief that selling $5,000 handbags to the same aging clientele is sustainable. She tapped a key, bringing up customer demographics on the massive screen. Our traditional buyers are aging out, while growth markets are flocking to brands that actually understand modern luxury. Another buzz from her phone. Ava, texting. Mom's crying. Dad's calling his broker. Please tell me this is a joke. Arya ignored it, focusing on the stunned faces around her. Let me guess, you all assumed the mystery buyer was another private equity fund, or maybe some dynasty family adding to their portfolio. Charles flushed. You're a shop girl. Arya smiled, slow and deliberate. No, I'm the CEO who knows your products, your customers, and your margins better than you do. And I'm here to make sure this company survives the next decade. A second board member found his voice, though it trembled. These are complex financial matters that I learned about while serving you coffee, Arya cut in, her tone even sharper now. Do you know how many boardroom conversations I overheard while refilling sugar bowls? You underestimated me so badly that you practically handed me the blueprint for this takeover. She clicked through another slide, this one revealing a stark truth. Their Q3 profits were inflated by real estate holdings, not retail success. Our so-called growth, she said, pointing to the numbers, is a mirage. You've been propping up earnings with property sales while ignoring why we're bleeding market share. The room went tense, the kind of silence that only comes when truth bulldozes through denial. You wouldn't understand the pressures of running a global brand, one director muttered. You mean like balancing payroll while keeping a flagship profitable during a recession? Arya asked. Because I did that while you were flying to Davos. She closed the laptop. Gentlemen, this era of creative accounting is over. Starting today, we focus on digital-first strategy, ethical sourcing, and reestablishing trust with the customers you've ignored. Charles Langford stood, face turning crimson. We will challenge this in court. The Bennet girl cannot simply walk in here and rewrite luxury. Arya leaned back in her chair, calm as glass. Every purchase was legal. Every disclosure was filed. And as of this morning, I hold proxies from 64% of institutional investors. They are very excited about my vision. The board exchanged nervous looks. One of them, a younger member with enough sense to read the room, asked softly, "What exactly is your vision?" Arya stood, her presence suddenly commanding. Aurora 2.0, a brand that isn't afraid to evolve. Digital storefronts that tell our story. A selective retail footprint focused on experience, not just display cases. A diffusion line that invites the next generation into our ecosystem instead of shutting them out. She gestured to her blazer. This isn't a downgrade. It's a redefinition of what luxury can be. For a moment, no one spoke. Then, slowly, one director nodded. She's right. The market is changing. We've been stagnant. Her phone buzzed again, but this time she looked. A text from her assistant. Your family is here. Ava looks like she's about to faint. Your mother is in the lobby. Perfect timing. Arya closed the laptop with a click. Gentlemen, this meeting is adjourned. My team will be in touch about your new responsibilities or severance packages. She walked out into the hallway, where Ava was pacing like a lawyer waiting for a verdict. What have you done? Ava demanded. Mom's in tears. Dad is furious. This is embarrassing. Embarrassing for who? Arya asked calmly, stepping past her. For the family that spent years treating me like a disappointment? Or for the board that didn't see me coming until it was too late? Their mother appeared from around the corner, mascara smudged. Darling, please. This company, it's too big for you. You don't have the experience. Arya adjusted the cuffs of her blazer. Actually, I have more experience than any CEO you've ever had. I know every floor, every process, every customer pain point. And unlike your cocktail party friends, I didn't learn about this company from reports. I learned it by working here. Just then, Jane, Arya's assistant, appeared carrying a garment bag. It's ready, she said with a knowing smile. Arya unzipped it, revealing a perfectly tailored suit from Aurora's signature line. She shrugged out of the Target blazer and slipped into the suit, the fabric hugging her like armor. Ava stared. You had this planned. Every detail, Arya said, buttoning the jacket. You all thought I was wasting my life. Turns out I was building the next chapter of Aurora Luxe. Their mother's eyes glistened with something between pride and fear. But what will we tell people? She whispered. Arya smoothed the lapels, her reflection now matching the CO she had always been beneath the surface. Tell them the truth. Tell them your daughter wasn't as simple as you thought. Sometimes the best strategy is letting people underestimate you right up until you walk into the boardroom. 3 months later, Arya sat in her new corner office, the skyline behind her glowing with morning light. Digital dashboards covered one wall, streaming real-time sales data. Aurora stock had doubled. Wasteful spending had been cut by 40%. Online sales were breaking records. Jane knocked and peeked in. Your father and Charles Langford are here. They say it's urgent. Arya checked the security feed, her father in his best navy suit, Charles clutching a leather portfolio like a shield. Send them up, she said. Moments later, they stepped inside, taking in the transformation of her office. Quite an upgrade from the store manager's back room, isn't it? Arya said, motioning to the screens. We're here to talk investment, her father said, his voice strained. The Bennett Langford Fund wants in. Your growth numbers are impressive. Arya tilted her head. Amazing what happens when you let the so-called simple daughter run the company. Charles opened his portfolio, pulling out charts. Aurora's strategy has become the model for half the industry. Competitors are copying your sustainability push. You've reshaped the entire sector. And yet, Arya said, you doubted I could even hold a conversation about business. She swiped across her tablet, displaying press coverage on the office screens. Vogue, the shop girl who saved luxury. Forbes, the future of fashion is female. Her father looked down at the headlines, shame creeping into his expression. I was wrong, he said quietly. Every Sunday dinner, every time I told you to do something real with your life, I didn't see what you were building. Arya stood, her suit catching the light like steel. You didn't have to see it. You just had to stop underestimating me. But you didn't, and that made me sharper. Her phone buzzed again. Ava, this time. You're trending globally. Liam just lost his VP job. Something about his campaign being fraudulent. Arya smiled faintly. The very deal she'd cancelled had turned out to be exactly the kind of hollow marketing that was killing the brand. You've built something remarkable, Charles admitted grudgingly. The direct-to-consumer focus, the artisan partnerships. This is what luxury should have been all along. No, Arya said, walking to the window. This is what luxury always was before you all turned it into exclusivity and gatekeeping. It's about craft, about value, about connection. She turned back to them. Aurora doesn't need old money to survive anymore. We're creating new value for a new generation. Months later, Arya stood on stage at the Global Luxury Summit, the same conference where a year earlier she had been working the Aurora booth. Cameras flashed as she spoke. The future of luxury isn't about who we keep out, she told the packed auditorium. It's about who we invite in. In the front row, her parents sat side by side, both wearing pieces from Aurora's new sustainable collection. Her father actually took notes. Ava sat next to them, quiet for once. After the speech, Arya returned to her office to find Charles waiting. Winchester Holdings is collapsing, he said grimly. We want you to buy us out. Arya looked at him for a long moment, then slid a folder across the desk. I already drafted the acquisition terms. Aurora will acquire Winchester, but on one condition. We keep the artisans, not the bureaucracy. Charles nodded, defeated. As he left, Arya turned to the window, the city gleaming below. Once, she had been the family's disappointment, the overlooked store manager. Now she was rewriting the rules of luxury. One quarterly report, one boardroom, one underestimation at a time. 6 months later, Aurora Luxe was no longer just a brand. It was a movement. Arya sat at the long marble table in the renovated flagship, now redesigned as a customer experience center with ateliers where shoppers could watch artisans handcraft pieces in real time. We're not just selling handbags, Arya told her executive team. We're selling the story behind every stitch, every piece of leather. Jane nodded, pulling up the latest data. Engagement rates are up another 25% since we launched the artisan profiles online. Arya smiled, because people want to know their purchases mean something. Just then, her phone buzzed. It was her father. Family dinner. Just us. No business talk. Please come. For the first time in years, Arya felt a twinge of warmth. Maybe they were starting to see her not just as the girl who had shocked them, but as someone worth listening to. That Sunday, she walked back into her parents' house. But this time, she wasn't bracing for judgment. Her father met her at the door, no longer stiff with pride, but awkwardly humble. Arya, he said, stepping aside. Dinner's ready. The table looked the same, but the energy was different. Her mother placed a hand on her arm. I read that interview you did with Forbes, she said softly. You were brilliant. Arya smiled, taking her seat. I always was, Mom. You just didn't notice before. Ava cleared her throat, her usual sharpness replaced with something gentler. I applied for a role at Aurora's new sustainability division, she admitted. I want to work with you. Arya blinked, surprised but not displeased. Then, send me your resume. I'll make sure HR takes a look. They all laughed, the sound tentative at first, but then real, as though they were finally learning how to be a family again, one that respected her place at the table. A few weeks later, Arya was on stage again, this time not in a power suit, but in a crisp ivory dress from Aurora's New Heritage Reimagined line. The event was the grand opening of Aurora's first experience flagship in Tokyo, a space combining art, gallery, cafe, and luxury boutique. "This is the future," she told the crowd and the livestream audience. Luxury that is alive, inclusive, and personal. Behind her, a massive screen showed footage of artisans working, employees laughing with customers, and sustainable farms where Aurora now sourced materials. As applause filled the room, Aria glanced down at the front row, where Jane stood beaming. Ava sat taking notes, and her parents held hands. For the first time, she felt the weight of what she had built. Not just a company, but a legacy. Later that night, Aria stood alone on the rooftop of the Tokyo store, the city lights glittering below like a galaxy. She removed her jacket, breathing in the cold air, feeling the hum of the building beneath her feet. Her phone buzzed, a text from Jane. Aurora had just hit its highest market cap in history. Another from her father. "Proud of you. Truly." Aria smiled, tucking the phone away. "They said I was just a shop girl," she murmured to herself. "Turns out that was my greatest advantage." She straightened her shoulders, looking out over the skyline. The world of luxury had changed, and so had she. No longer the quiet, underestimated girl in the budget blazer. Aria Bennett was now the woman rewriting the rules of an entire industry. And she was just getting started. Like and subscribe to my channel for more contents like this, and let us know where you are watching from under the comment section.